the same exact person or somewhat similar person. No matter where you go, there you are.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked before about muscle testing, and you've heard of tapping.
Yeah, I
Tapping
do
and
tapping too,
muscle
yeah.
testing. Those things don't work for me
Okay.
at all. I've done the muscle testing as many different ways. Then there's the kind where you ask the question and like if you go like if it's a yes answer, I'm gonna like lean forward a little bit. If it's a no answer, I'm gonna lean back a little bit, and it doesn't work with me. It just doesn't work with me, unfortunately.
Okay. So can I do a clearing on you and everyone on the call who might have that
Sure.
right now? Okay.
Sure.
So everywhere you decided you don't work, and everyone who implanted or explanted the belief that you don't work or your way of working doesn't work in this reality, would you be willing to rescind, recant, renounce, destroy, and uncreate everything that is and everything that brings up times a Buddha zillion?
Sure.
Right and wrong, good and bad,
Absolutely.
all nine, pod and pog, shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, I just said some weird stuff, but don't worry about what I say because your subconscious mind knows everything. But if you are interested, on my YouTube videos, which I have my YouTube video up there somewhere, you can see the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement is a long, short speak phraseology that taps deep into your subconscious mind and lets go of all the stuff that's holding you back from who you truly be. So the coolest thing is everything that happens with you, like me in marriage, is all basically an energetic memory in your body that is trying to prove you right, your point of view right, your beliefs right, your projections from your parents right, because if your parents got in a divorce and they had a bad relationship, they projected onto you that that's your reality too. So you have to live up to their reality. And if you buy into that, which you don't, you have no choice usually because you don't know, you can rescind and recant and renounce, destroy, and uncreate anything you bought into in this reality in the past, and you can get rid of it. So that's what Access Consciousness does. Is it uses verbal processing to go into the subconscious mind and clear out all the ways you said to yourself, "I can't do it. I don't do it. My mom said I can't do it. It doesn't work for me." So everywhere in your life that things don't work for you, like when we got on the call, the radio didn't work, the voice didn't work, all that stuff. All that is basically a projection of your programming, my programming, all the listeners' programming. So if we have a lot of people on the call who think, I'm going to call into the show, Tim's not going to be able to do anything for me because no one ever did anything for me right, because nothing ever works for me. I've tried them all, I've done them all. And that's basically going to stop you from opening up to the infiniteness you truly be, which I'm a facilitator of infiniteness. And if you're willing to open up the infiniteness you truly be, then the only one that can stop you from creating a reality that's better than the reality you have is yourself. I can only open the doorway and allow you to walk through the doorway, but you have to be the one who doesn't stop yourself. So most people stop themselves. So in a relationship all my life, I thought every girl's going to cheat on me. That was just my basic belief. It was my point of view. I don't know where I got that from. I think it was probably from my mom, because my dad did sleep around all the time when I was a baby, and I didn't even know that, because I was 2 years old. So I don't know where I got that belief. Maybe my mom believed that he was sleeping around or whatever. So I believed that every relationship the girl was going to cheat on me. So I became a fanatical freak following them. If they didn't call me every 5 hours, I thought they were sleeping with someone. I just had this just crazy fear. So I actually hired my last wife, to have an affair, which was the first person I've ever been in a relationship who had an affair on me that I know of. Although I thought everyone I've ever been with before had an affair on me. I just knew it, even though they probably never did. So she had an affair, and I knew it. I knew it was happening, and I'd never confronted her on it, but one day she said, "I want a divorce," and it was about the 17th time we've gone through a divorce with each other. And I said, "Okay, go home." And she's like, "What?" Because all the other times she asked for divorce, I would try to work it out. But I said, "No, just go home." I said, we'll spend a month apart, and after the month, if it works out, we'll get a divorce. So we did it. We spent a month apart. Every day she would come back and she would wash my dishes. I go, "Go home. You don't have to wash my dishes. I don't need anyone to wash my dishes. I can wash my own dishes." She would anyway, she was trying to take care of me. But anyway, I said, "I don't need your care. I can take care of myself. I'm a big boy." And go home. And 1 year later, I actually had someone read the letter that was in Japanese that I found that was talking about the affair she was having. But anyway, that was me basically projecting what I believe I had as a point of view, that everyone was going to cheat on me. So my wife wanted to leave me for many years because I have a music dream, and she just didn't understand that. Because Japanese people think you have to be in a box. You have to go to work from 9 in the morning to 9 at night, 6 days a week. You have Sunday off. You go drinking with your boss on Saturday night. You go to onsens or places golfing with your boss on Sunday. So you have no time with your family, no time for having a life. You just work. It's called workaholicness. That's Japan's culture. So she wanted me to have a life like that, but I'm not a Japanese. I can't have a life like that. I'm a singer-songwriter. I do all these other things. I do all these crazy things. She was always like, why are you doing all these crazy things? Why don't you just work every day like everyone else?
Yeah.
So it just, I needed to have her have an affair to actually finally get the courage to leave. Which is basically what I told her for 4 years. I told her, the only way I'm ever going to really leave you is if you ever fool around with someone. So I planted that in her head, and finally she did. So it was really cool. It worked.
What led you to move to Japan in the first place?
I went to Soka University of America in Aliso Viejo, Orange County. I was the first graduating class, and they require you to take either Spanish, or at the time they required you Spanish, Chinese, or Japanese. I tried Spanish, I failed. I tried Japanese, I failed. It was too late, I couldn't take Chinese. And they sent me, whether I liked it or not, to study in Japan, and I fell in love with Japanese girls. I never wanted to come home.
All right. So now I'm getting feedback all of a sudden. I'm hearing myself back.
We call this a Mobius strip. So all the Mobius strips of this reality that are holding in the old reality of things that don't work for you, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate all those Mobius strips?
Absolutely.
And all the feedback loops holding them in place?
Sure.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod and poc, shorts, boys and beyond. I do have a. Sometimes when I come on the program and I start doing the clearings, everything starts shutting down. So if your lights go dim and things like that, it happens. So don't be freaked out or anything like that. And if the lightning, it's daytime here. If the lightning, it looks like it's going to be a thunderstorm coming. If it starts going and flashing, it's not Count Dracula. I love to count.
All right. Kathleen in the chat room has a great question.
Okay.
Which is we talk a lot here about direct communication with people, and not what I mean, having to set things up in the way that you did, for example, you know what I mean? So that we either change our behavior to make ourselves, if we want to break up with someone, we start behaving in a way that we know that they won't put up with for too long, or rather than just having the discussion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she's, what does that do to one's wellness? You know what I mean? When would you agree or not agree that, like, a frank, forward, of course there's a cultural issue there that I can't be sure of too, but we talk about speaking our truth, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, how that generally is a good thing for our wellness. And so what have you got regarding that?
Yeah, well, with me in Japan, there is a problem because my wife doesn't speak English and I don't speak Japanese, and my last wife didn't speak English and I don't speak Japanese. So they say that 30% of all communication is not verbal, or as it said, 30% is verbal and 70% is not verbal. So I've been getting really good at the nonverbal communication because that's the only thing I know how to do. But it is really difficult if you're ever going to have a relationship with someone who doesn't speak your language. So my wife is going for the next 2 months to Hawaii, hopefully to learn English without me, and my daughter's going to take summer school to hopefully learn English too. But yes, communication is very important, and speaking your truth. But a lot of people don't know what truth is because we lie to ourselves more than we lie to other people. So every time you say, I can't do something, you're lying to yourself. Every time you say that I don't have the strength to overcome this, you're lying to yourself. Every time you say I'm a weak, pathetic piece of shit because, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on your radio show, but I just said it. Every time you make excuses for you not being the infinite being you truly be, you're lying to yourself. So many people want to speak their truth, but they don't even know who they are. And
So when you say that you can't speak Japanese, how long have you been living there, Tim?
今12年間住んでいました。だからでもすごい難しいだよ。I can speak simple Japanese, but to speak to my wife about what her OCD is and what creates OCD and why I don't have to wash my hands every 5 seconds before I give her a hug or before I touch my daughter. It's kind of hard to explain those deep things, and most of the stuff I want to talk about my wife and to my daughter are so deep that even in English most people would be like, what you talking about? So it's very difficult, but the good thing is with the daughter, my daughter learns everything like most kids learn from watching. My wife can tell her all the things she wants her to do, and my wife's a control freak, so she loves to tell everyone what to do. Do this, do this, do this, do this. But kids don't learn from telling; they only learn from watching. So all my daughter learns how to do is yell at me and yell at other people because my wife loves to yell. So. And I understand she's really frustrated because she has to talk to a guy who doesn't speak Japanese, and it's really difficult. So it's the only way she can get her point across sometimes is screaming her head off. Because after about 5 screams, I'm like, okay, I'll try to figure out the sign language you're trying to tell me, and you know. But anyway, that's a long story. So yeah, communication. But the most important thing is communication with yourself. Who are you as a being? And that's what I'm starting to figure out with the energy healing. I've been studying Buddhism all my life. I've been practicing Buddhism all my life. But I actually didn't know who I was until about 5 years ago. And I'm starting to find out more about who I truly be, which is beyond anything I could have imagined I was. And the deeper I get into the rabbit hole, the more I realize I've been lying to myself for however many years I've been alive, which if I say my age, it's a lie, because your body is a median age of between 3 to 5. Most people, their skin cells are about a day old. Their stomach lining is about 5 hours old. Their brain is the only thing that's about 6 or 7 years old. The heart is about 5 years old. So if I were to say my age, which people say, "What's your age?" I say I don't know, because there's no way to really know my age, because I am a Buddha-zillion light years consciousness manifesting in this body, which I took from another little kid in Orange County back in the 70s, and because he didn't want to live in the family that he was living in, and I stopped him from getting run over by a truck, and I took his place. But anyway, that's a whole long story. I'm a walk-in, which I just found out recently I'm a walk-in. So that might be a way to go into a deeper understanding of who we all are. Have you ever talked about walk-ins on this show?
Yeah, I've talked about walk-ins.
Okay.
I believe that there are walk-ins. I just think that my problem with it is that these days, there's, I think that it's a very unique and not so common thing. And too many, everybody's a psychic, everybody's this, everybody's a walk-in, everybody's, you know. And I'm not saying you're not or anything else like that, but to me, special certain circumstances need to kind of exist for, I don't think it's, it's going to be a walk-in now, I really feel that it's a very rare, more rare than not. And I hear too many people coming out now, they're a walk-in, they're this. I had one that's like an angel walk. They're not a human being walk-in, they're not like a human being walk-in, they're an angel walk-in. So that there was a swap with an angel came in instead of a human soul. And I'm all like, oh my God, And nothing is impossible. You know what I mean? But
well, I'm a lesbian in a man's body. Can we talk about that?
We'll call you Donald II. I was going to say it looks like a lesbian shirt that you're wearing there. You know what I mean? And
my older brother would say it's very gay.
We have a guy, this old guy, Donald Black Fox. He's the CEO of Spirit Wind Records, and he wears one of these red checkered, sort of, not quite like one of those plaid jackets that hunters would wear, you know what I mean? Like, and so we call that the lesbian shirt, and so we always joke about the lesbian shirt here on the show, and so there you go. Sounds like you're related to Donald spiritually, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And anyway, okay, we get off track easily around here. So, no, and I generally agree with the notion that our thoughts definitely get in our belief system, can interfere with things, and I like the idea of trying to undo some of that very deep programming that we don't even always know how that got there, but it's there. But to me, it can't undo everything. Now that's a limitation I'm placing on that, I agree. But like, let's say that I get my leg amputated, you know what I mean? I don't believe that can be undone. And now I may be able to heal and get on and still become and not be disabled and be fully abled, but my leg is still amputated, you know what I mean? And so I'm not going to ever in this lifetime grow that leg back, What do you think?
Yeah, I do agree. I have crooked teeth down here. I had braces back in high school, but my parents had to declare bankruptcy, so they had to get the braces off early, so they went crooked again. But they were really, really crooked when I was a little kid. They were turned around and sideways. So, yeah, I keep asking if I can do healing on making my teeth go straight, and my body keeps saying yes, so I keep slowly doing healing. So if someday my teeth go straight without getting braces again, then I might be able to work on amputated legs too. But
right. No, and there are some things that I feel health-wise that we can undo and do.
Yeah.
But I just say that there's just, because there's people in this healing community or spiritual community who they're all like, oh, well, nothing's impossible. I'm like, well, there are really some things that are impossible, I think, But I do talk about, the scientists have us believe, if we understand that the difference between solid, liquid, and gas is the speed at which those molecules are moving in that object or that thing, then there is if we can come up with a way to change the speed with which our own molecules vibrate within our bodies, then we would be able to vaporize, rematerialize, walk through a wall, or we change the speed with which the molecules in the wall are vibrating, and then we can make the wall sort of like vapor, and we can walk through it that way. So I do agree that there's some things that we get limited because science told us you couldn't or you can't or whatever. And I always agree that positive thinking and if you can recognize programming that's harmful or limiting self-beliefs and things like that, you're better off, your overall wellness will improve. So now you work with, let's get back onto the direct healing stuff. Like, so you're using things like muscle testing to help find out what's wrong with somebody, right?
Yes.
And then you have to move into what can we do to help heal that, right?
Yes.
And so where do we move to from the body code or the emotion code to actually get to the healing part of it?
Okay, luckily 80 to 90% of all the things on the healing anyone's problems is emotion. So the emotion code, the good thing about the emotion code is he designed the book that if it floated up on an island and it wasn't, you can still read it after floating, it would probably all be contaminated. But anyway, you couldn't turn the pages. But if you could read it, if it floated up on an island, you can heal about 80 to 90% of your problems by just getting rid of emotions. So when I was doing the clearing on you, I rubbed my hands over my head like that. Dr. Bradley Nelson uses magnets, but he's also bald. I don't know if that caused him to go bald. I don't use magnets. But my body says if I were to continue using magnets over my head like this, he uses a magnet like that, I would probably go bald. So I don't use a magnet, but the good thing is your fingers are magnetized. But once you ask a question and you figure out what it is, usually it's an energetic clearing that it needs to be done. And you can ask the body with a muscle test, can I clear this? And I get a strong muscle test. That means you have permission from your body or from whatever you're getting the answers from. Dr. Bradley Nelson thinks it's your body. I think it's probably the collective unconsciousness or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I just clear it by rubbing my hands over my head. I just say, I'm clearing this, and I just have the intention, then I ask, is it gone? Once I get a strong muscle test, it's gone, it's gone. It never comes back. So I've had people where I've released 1 or 2 trapped emotions, and they've done, I'll give you an example. I had a lady who said, I want you to work on my daughter because my daughter is so fearful of everything. She won't go into the costumes, the Halloween costume aisle. She won't even go near the aisle because she's afraid of all the costumes. We have a basement in our house. We designed the basement so it would be the kids' play area so we can't hear them screaming. She won't go down in the basement by herself. She's so scared. So I said, okay, I'll try to, and I released a few trapped emotions while she was at school. This daughter was about, I forget, it was like about 8 or 9 years old. She came home from school and she said, Mom, I'm not afraid of the basement anymore. And the daughter didn't even know I was working on her. So the good thing about working on pets or working on kids is they don't lie well. So I worked on pets where they pee in the house, and then I did a few trapped emotions and they stopped peeing in the house. Or I've had one dog who would anyone who comes in the house, they would try to hump the person's leg. And I released a couple trapped emotions and they stopped doing that. So that's the cool thing with working on pets or working on babies or working on kids is they can't lie to you. So if the dog stops humping someone's leg and you just release a few trapped emotions, it's like everyone's going, it's a miracle, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So listen, we have at least one person there that's been waiting since before you got here to talk to you.
Cool.
I think they know you though, so
okay.
I don't know that this is Corey.
Corey.
So
yes, he called in a couple. Corey, good to hear from you. So what's one thing you want to work on today? We'll do a little healing on you, and maybe we'll do healing on all the callers with you.
Hey Tim, hang on 2 seconds. Corey, can you put a headset on or take yourself off speakerphone or whatever you got going on there? Because it's really bad reverb. Okay, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, so Corey, just let me know one thing you want to work on.
I'm going to work on this judgment I have towards women that have like multiple kids from multiple men and just like, this Catholic programming and stuff.
Okay. You want to work on issues with women who have multiple men, you said?
And so children from multiple men.
Okay.
Well, multiple kids from multiple men, like,
okay.
I don't know.
Okay. So first of all, Corey, everything that childbirth means to you and everything that child rearing and everything that sex means to you and everything related to sex means to you, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all times a Buddha zillion?
Yes.
Okay, right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pod and pox, shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, so for anyone else listening in, the good thing is if you say yes or think yes, or if you listen to the replay, if this is going to be on replay, and you say yes, whatever subconsciously comes up when I say the word sex, and that can be something for everyone, and sex is one of the most powerful words because it brings up all the shikyu, which is secret, hidden, invisible, covert, unseen, unheard, undisclosed. It's an acronym. I'm going to put it right here. Shikyu. Shikyu. You can do many U's on that. Anyway, secret, hidden, invisible, covert, unseen, unheard, undisclosed, unrecognized, whatever other you want to talk about. All the unknown things you feel when you see a person who has multiple kids or has kids from other men or has had sex with more than one man, or everything sex brings up to you that's secret, hidden, that you can't even describe, and all the feelings you have. Would you be willing to destroy and uncreate all that times a Buddha zillion?
Yes.
Okay, right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pod and pox, shorts, boys and beyond. And everything sex with your parents means to you, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod and pock, shorts, boys, and beyond. And everything sex with Jesus Christ means to you, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod and pock, shorts, boys, and beyond. Everything sex means with your teachers at school, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all? Times a Buddha zillion.
Yeah, I don't go to school.
Okay, but all I'm doing is bringing up secret, hidden, because the truth is you've lived millions of lifetimes. So if you've lived millions of lifetimes, you've had sex with everyone. You've had sex with teachers. You've had sex with preachers. You've had sex with horses. You've had sex with donkeys. You've had sex with cows. You've had sex with kids. You've had sex with TV producers. You've had sex with movie engineers. You've had sex with kids' brothers and sisters. Okay, so the thing is, the word sex has so much hidden meaning to it that everything I'm trying to bring up for you is to clear out all the bullshit in your head around sex. So everything that brought up for you and all the other callers, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all times a Buddha zillion?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod and pucks. Yes, sex with shrimp too. Bubble gum shrimp. Okay, so the good thing is this word sex, and this is why on a lot of cult websites, Access Consciousness is one of them way up there, and that's why I love Access Consciousness, because I started my own cult. It's called the Cult of Love Bombing from Outer Dementia, and you can watch my videos. I am the founder of the Cult of Love Bombing of Outer Dementia. I'm not yet on the cult websites, but I will be on the cult websites very soon. The great thing is, everything that I can say negative to you will bring up negative energy, will help clear more. So the more shit I can say to you that will make you pissed off and make you angry at me and make you throw chairs, that the more I can do clearing for you. So my wife doesn't realize that's why I make her freak out and yell at me every day, because I'm doing...
Well, that's a handy excuse.
Anyway, I'm joking. My healing radio call, I say it's the only that I know of comedy healing show on the internet. So Blog Talk Radio / Major Tim to Ground Control is where the comedy starts and ends in the blogosphere universe. Okay, so everything sex means to you and the Dragon King's daughter, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all times the Buddha zillion?
Let's say yes, okay?
Just say yes.
Okay. Yes.
The good thing is so many people have had so much problem saying yes, and if you can just say yes, yes, give it to me, baby, give it to me, yes, 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 you're going to clear so much, because that's what your body is screaming for, is just the yes. And that's why when people have sex, they say yes, 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 because their body is screaming for the yes. Because everywhere in your life, your parents are saying, no, don't do that. Don't think about sex. Don't watch porn. Don't think about people who have had sex. Don't have sex with people who have had sex. Don't have sex until you're married. So everything you've been told in this reality, every projection, every conclusion, every concentricity, every linearity, every form, structure, significance, every expectation, I think I said that twice, judgment, that you've had around this issue of sex, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all times the Buddha zillion?
Yes.
Okay. So, truth, would you have sex with Jesus Christ?
No.
Okay. So everything that wouldn't allow you to have sex with Jesus Christ, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all?
I guess.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod and puck short. Okay, now I'm going to tell you what my definition of sex is, because all of the shit that we just washed out for everyone on the call was all the bullshit lies that this reality tells you about sex. Sex and sexualness is the energy of living and the energy of creating. So when I create a song, I'm giving birth to a new reality that never existed on this planet. When I create a book, I'm giving birth to a new... So everywhere you have this feeling of sexualness is bad is where you're not willing to give birth to a new reality. You're not willing to co-create the reality that sexualness requires to co-create in this reality. You have to have sexualness. You have to have the living... What I'm doing right now, if you can watch me, I'm having sex with